This video will show you exactly how to stop attracting negative synchronicity. I'm going to share with you ways that I've applied in my own life so that good things happen and I'm able to distance myself from that negativity. Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you ways that you can bypass negativity and really knowing how to transform negative synchronicity into something that is positive. Now let's first off understand that when it comes to the law of attraction, like attracts like, but also in the sense to where our beliefs are being reflected back to us as well. So the idea is even though like attracts like, if we believe that negative things happen, or we believe that we're not worthy, or we believe in certain things happening, and even if those are subconscious or conscious, the idea is we always get a reflection of whatever that is. Now, the question to ask when negative synchronicity happens is first off, ask the question, what would I believe to be true to be having this kind of experience? Now, the other side of this coin is understanding that many times negative synchronicity can be a sign to us to maybe look at something we believe to be true, or maybe to look at certain patterns in our life. We can think about this in the form of what we call our higher self, or our higher level of awareness or consciousness, and our ego self. Now sometimes negative synchronicity will happen to us and our ego will become identified with it. We'll think that we're in a way a victim. And the key to this is knowing that many times synchronicity and negative synchronicity could simply be an opportunity for us to become aware of what our definitions are, to become aware of what we're bought into, to become aware of certain patterns that are happening, and if we really want to let them go. So the first step to this process is defining any negative synchronicity as something positive, because at least it's making you aware of something that was priorly unconscious. So it's something that's good because now we're able to get to the root of whatever this belief is, to the root of whatever this pattern is, to simply decide to let it go. And we cannot change what we do not own. So if negative patterns are happening in our life, if negative synchronicities are happening in our life and we're not aware of it, they'll just continue to happen. So the key to this is first off being grateful that you are aware that there's patterns happening that you don't prefer, being aware that there's a belief that's maybe out of alignment with who you are, and the next step is to simply ask the question, what would I have to believe is true to be having this experience? Many times that belief will be rooted in a definition. So if negative things happen in my life, for example, I'll ask myself the question, what would I have to believe is true to be having this quote-unquote negative experience? And I would first off realize that a lot of times it comes from being attached to thinking that this is the way things are, that this is how things will always be. And sometimes I'll be aware of, oh hey, I have a belief that says I'm unworthy, that I can't, have this happen, so therefore I have to remain attached to the outcome. So the key is always asking myself that question, what would I have to believe is true to be having this kind of experience, and what could this be telling me? Now I know many times in my own life, there are times when I'm thinking about certain things, and when I'm thinking about things that are out of alignment with my, maybe I guess you could say true nature, or out of alignment with what's really best for me, a lot of times I'll get like something will happen that'll kind of smack my thoughts back into place. So like the other day, I was at the gym and I was doing these box jumps, which is like on this, I jump on this box, and it's like something I do in between workouts. It's like a good, small thing to do when you work out. And I do that in between, and I was doing it, and I found myself thinking about things that like maybe I shouldn't have been thinking about. I was kind of going off in certain scenarios in my head that weren't in alignment with, how I really prefer to be. And halfway through, I went to jump up, and my leg like skipped, and I like busted my shin, and it hurt. It was bleeding a little bit. Wasn't that big of a deal, but it made me aware. Anytime something like that happens, if I hit my head, sometimes I was in my closet the other day, and I got up and I hit my head against the TV that's hanging, and it's always when I'm thinking of things that aren't in alignment. It's almost like a smack in the head that says, hey, refocus your thoughts. Now I know we don't have to derive meaning from every little thing, but the idea is that many times when negative synchronicity happens, be aware of what you're thinking of. You'll find that a lot of times it comes from misalignment of thought. So what you can begin to do is to recenter your focus in the direction of where you want to be, or in the direction of what's just simply good for you. Putting your thoughts where it actually pays off, or where it's actually something that's beneficial. So what I encourage you to do is to first off be aware of what you are thinking of. From that point on, choose to ask yourself the question, what would I have to believe is true for this to be happening? Where are my thoughts currently focused? And then what you do is you can refocus it in the direction that you want. You can refocus the kind of belief that you prefer to have, and you can let go of any definition that doesn't serve you, any label. Many times it's labels when it comes to these definitions. And as you do that, you will start to get positive benefit. Now, the other side of this is knowing that negative can be something that we learn from, and that we can reframe any negative situation into a positive by knowing that this is the most important thing. The most important thing is not the situations that happen in our life, it is the way that we respond to those situations in our life. It is our own state of being that is the most important. And if you choose to remain in a positive state of being despite the negative circumstances, because we don't have to base our state of being on what is happening on the outside, we find that things happen in a much better way, and that things start to actually happen for us rather than to us. So that's where this power is, understanding that at the same time we can get a lesson out of everything that happens. Even if something negative happens, intend to learn a lesson from it, because as you learn a lesson, you will stop the pattern from happening. Everything in our life is a pattern, and patterns will always come back to us until we learn the lesson. So if you are able to ask yourself the question, what would I have to believe is true? Where are my thoughts currently focused, and what can I learn from this? You'll then deal through it right now. You'll work through it right now so that you're actually able to let it go, and we don't keep these patterns happening over and over again. So that's it. Understand that that's the power you have to really redefine the negative things in your life, to know that you can attract positive things by recentering your focus, by being aware of the higher self perspective and maybe not just the ego, realizing when we observe we get to that higher perspective. When we allow ourselves to ask ourselves the question, what would I have to believe is true? We take ourselves out of the reactive mind. We're able to more powerfully see it from that point of view, and then we're able to choose how we prefer to be. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already. Also hit that little notification gear so you're able to see the daily videos that I do. Also, I put the top 5 Law of Attraction books in the description box. It's a list. 2 of those books you can read in literally less than 2 hours, so feel free to check that out. They're books that absolutely transform my own life. So other than that, peace, much love, namaste.